Welcome back. Now, fluorescent and incandescent light bulbs will soon be banned in the country. Trade and Industry Minister Ibrahim Patel has given final notice for new compulsory specifications. It sets minimum energy efficiency standards that these bulbs can't reach, and it's also hoped that the new regulations will eliminate inefficient and environmentally damaging light sources. Now, energy expert Khambule joins us to discuss this. And Happy, thank you so much for your time, and good morning to you. A good idea or not? Will this be effective, this decision by South Africa to ban fluorescent and incandescent light bulbs?
Good morning to you and good morning to all the viewers. So the decision, the announcement is well received because we've known for quite a number of years that incandescent light bulbs and many of the CFLs aren't producing the kinds of energy return that we need for the society that we have, because there's a number of issues that need to be addressed as we use lighting. So, for example, the costs associated with every watt of energy is quite important, as well as the environmental considerations that are born from using inefficient lighting devices.
When we talk about inefficient and environmentally damaging lighting products, I mean, to what extent are we talking about the damage here and the inefficiency, and how that could be really to the detriment of the country?
Well, the first part, let's say, on the economic side, is that you're actually spending a lot more using these inefficient lights because they produce a lot less light than the amount of power they derive. So, for example, when you do an energy efficiency program or project in a household or any building, the first thing you change is the lights, because most of the money goes of your tariff, most of the electricity that you pay for goes into your lighting. And most of your bill could be reduced to up to 40% just by changing your lights if they are very, very inefficient when you move to highly efficient ones. The cost benefit between having an LED compared to a fluorescent light is a bit of a concern, but because the cost of LEDs has been reducing so much and so drastically that it is now cost competitive, and you should be using LEDs because those provide more light with less amount of power, and on top of that they last longer than the incandescent lights.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the specifications also talk about correction factors. I mean, what does this mean according to your understanding, Happy?
Well, it means it depends on how much light one produces, which is stipulated on the box. It also speaks to the amount of power it actually consumes from whatever outlet it is, as well as if the particular device, let's say the lamp, let me put it like that, the light bulb or the lamp itself has any other features. So if you've got these lights that are able to dim and you can change the luminosity of that particular light, you have to correct the calculation, which will give you the outcome which the department uses for their calculations. So it's really just an accounting system for them to be able to determine whether or not that particular light bulb or that particular lamp is within the specifications that they want. Because it's not just about how much radiation or luminosity it has, it's also about how much it derives and the kinds of functionalities that it has.
Yeah, I want to also just make mention of, some of what is said here regarding lamps. Lamps that let end users change the spectrum and beam angle of the emitted light, that's changing the values of the luminous flux, CRA, or color temperature, very technical, but quite significant, will be evaluated using the reference control settings. But also lamps that can change the directional or non-directional status will also be evaluated using the reference control settings. K2, also explain what that means for us that are not necessarily technically in the know-how about how these, lamps actually work and what this actually means.
So I think what you are describing is really the technical words for saying that some lights or some lamps have the ability to track, right? So, for example, if you walk into certain types of buildings, you can have a light that tracks the movement of people to a certain direction. Some of them are actually adjustable depending on the angle in which you are viewing them. So they have to have some ability to move with the particular motion. And then in the other circumstance, it's those that actually can be made to be brighter and then made to be dimmer. So in those circumstances, you can't treat them the same as normal lights that stay stationary with the same kind of output all the time. So basically what the department is saying is that they're going to look at the whole spectrum of lighting that we have in the country, and then they're going to apply the particular methodology that they have developed, which is a good step, because what we are also finding out, at least from the energy crisis that we're facing, is that there's a lot of savings that we can do just by changing small little things, like the types of technology you're using, the types of lights that you have, the types of geysers that one uses. So it's within the ambit of energy efficiency that we have to move in this direction. And if we're able to reduce the amount of products which are harmful, which are not giving us the kinds of benefits, then it is a good step. And I think the department is making sure that they're covering their bases.
Yeah, and I'm glad you actually linked this to, what we're currently going through with the energy crisis, because that was going to be my next question to say. I mean, we're having this conversation to almost clarify for the viewer and actually, break it down for them to further understand why this is significant, because oftentimes we'd hear from Eskom saying, please use electricity sparingly. But then one wonders, how else can I use electricity sparingly? And I suppose this is one of them, understanding how we can use energy efficient products.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is that when you start to use energy efficient products, even your costs for electricity reduce. Yes, they might be increasing in terms of the tariff application that Eskom does, but I think that's a second or secondary story. But if you're using 10 watts every day, and this is just an example, if you change just your lighting, you could move up to 7, you could move up to 5 watts in a day, and that means that 50%, 40% of the money you've been paying is going to actually come back into your pocket, and you can either reinvest it or use it for other means as the standard of, as the cost of living is increasing.
No pun intended, but I'm happy we had this conversation. I get to save my electricity and save some money, according to your advice. Well, thank you so much, Happy Khambule, for joining me right here on NewsLink, our energy expert, of course, at the back of South Africa moving to ban fluorescent and incandescent light bulb sales, according to the Department of Trade and Industry.